Hey guys, we're going to get this service going just a little bit early. Let me make sure that I can see myself on YouTube. Hold on. Yep, it's live. There's a that signature picture of Ryan Day and Jimbo shaking hands reluctantly after last year's Michigan victory over the Ohio State Buckeyes. Hey, whoever comes in tonight, shout yourselves out in the chat. Let's make this lively. We're on the eve of the game. Buckeye Alex is going to come through tonight with his prediction. And I think he's going to be pretty even keeled. I mean, last year, Buckeye Alex talked about kicking teeth in. And I think tonight Alex is going to be a little more balanced. What's up, Michael Burden? Thank you for stopping through. So I'm gonna get the seat warm a little bit before Buckeye Alex comes through. I have some things I'm going to show. Well, let's start with a couple of drops. Yeah, let's start with a couple of drops. I noticed I was looking at my collection of drops here. Let's start with some Brady Hoke. I have a libation here, so a maize libation. So let's start with some Brady Hoke.
We understand what Michigan football means and what Michigan football is. We will always be about the team at Michigan. This is never going to be about Brady Hoke.
Brady, how do you feel about that team down south?
But I was not a fan of that university in Ohio because my buddies were, so I had to be different.
All right. Coach Harbaugh, what do you think about Ryan Day's success at Ohio State?
Sometimes people that are standing on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't. All right, thanks.
Hey, everyone, please hit that like button on your way in. The likes are free and they help with the engagement. Oh, boy. Coach Harbaugh, what are our goals for this year?
Let's see if we can get all four goals. Let's beat Michigan State and Ohio State in the same year. Let's win the Big Ten championship and let's win the national championship. Those are our four goals, and man, let's go attack them. And guys are on a daily basis.
Ryan Day, what do you think about the team up north?
And so in the off season, we've tried to really make sure that the guys are reminded of that game, that the coaches are reminded of that game, everybody in the building's reminded of that game, but also know that we have to move forward. We can't let that game beat us twice, but it's something we never want to have to go through again.
Ryan, do you have more to say about that team up north?
Well, every year we have the same expectation. And the first goal was to beat the team up north and win the rivalry game, and that didn't happen. And so, we had to sit on that for a calendar year, and that's not good. We don't want to have to go through that again.
Oh, Abdul Gaines is here. With Abdul Gaines being here, that means I have to play one of these.
All right, and I'm going to continue to live that way and try to do what's right. And, that's who Nick Saban is. All right, so regardless of what anybody says, that's who Nick Saban is.
Buckeye Alex is here. All right. The whole gang is the whole motley crew is rolling in. Abdul Gaines, I got one more for you. This isn't related to the game, but since you like this player so much, Abdul, I'm going to play it for you. Hold on. Everyone, please excuse this, but Abdul Gaines is our resident super fan. So he watches soccer, he watches basketball, he watches football, Abdul Gaines, this is one more for you. This is unrelated to everyone, but this is for Abdul Gaines.
Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, George Gervin. Now, they say it was a so-called freeze-out in my rookie season. I wouldn't have never guessed, but you guys gave me the motivation to say, you know what? Evidently, I haven't proved enough to these guys. I got to prove to them that I deserve what I've gotten on this level.
We all have to keep proving ourselves every day, every week, every month, all year. We all have to keep proving ourselves. All right, let me jump into this. All right, guys, I'm going to play Let's Go Blue, and then Alex is there in the chat. I want to hear what Alex has to say about the game, and then we'll see where it goes. Things tend to get a little more fun. The chat gets a little more lively when Alex comes up. I'm going to start us off with Let's Go Blue, then I'll jump in. Abdul, let us know what your prediction for the game is. Abdul, let us know. What do you think Ohio State's going to do against Michigan? What do you think Michigan is going to do against Ohio State? All right, everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar. And now that fun is out of the way, of course, we're going to have some more fun tonight. This is Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like the stream. Please share it, and please subscribe. I'm sitting at 1,000. Well, if you're new here, please subscribe. I could use more subs. So please hit that subscribe button. All right. So we are on the eve of the we got another Buckeye fan here. Abdul Gaines is predicting 35-14 from that team down south. So he's predicting that team down south is going to win by 3 touchdowns. Okay. And Abdul Gaines has been waiting for this game since last year. Ever since Michigan won the game last year, it was hashtag Thanksgiving 2022, hashtag Thanksgiving 2022, hashtag Thanksgiving 2022. So he's been waiting for this the entire year. Raheem Gaines says, good evening all, and go Bucks. Okay. So we are on the eve of the 2022 Michigan-Ohio State game down in Columbus. Michigan has not won down in the Snake Pit since 2000. It's 22 years ago. That was Lloyd Carr's Drew Henson team. That was a talented team. And I think one of the big differences in that game, my opinion, versus the 2006 game, is that Drew Henson was mobile. Drew Henson could make those sidearm throws, and Drew Henson was just a sick athlete. And I think Chad Henne was more of a drop back, pro style passer, more of a Tom Brady type, not as elusive. And I think Drew Henson was the difference. We didn't have the greatest defense in that game. We didn't have the greatest defense that year, but I think it was Drew Henson's arm, Drew Henson's legs, Drew Henson's talent. You had David Terrell on one side, Marquise Walker on the other side, Anthony Thomas in the backfield, Jeff Backus at tackle, Steve Hutchinson at guard. You had just a really solid offense. And, well, what do we have this year? Okay, well, this year, both teams have the exact same record. Both teams are going in to this game ranked 11-0. So this is eerily similar. It's eerily similar to the 2006 game where both teams were undefeated. Both teams had a lot on the line. And yeah, it was a monster matchup. And if Blake Corum plays, he's out delivering turkeys. I think that this has the potential to be that type of game. Now, there are some question marks here, but so Michigan and Ohio State are tied in the Big Ten East. It looks like there's a two-way tie in the Big Ten West. Uh, Iowa could, in all likelihood, be the representative again. Weeks ago, we thought it was going to be Illinois. So that's how those are the records. Those are the records in terms of leading up to this game. In terms of the college football playoff right now, and that's another big difference between this year's game and the 2006 game. The 2006 game, that was the era of the BCS. So only two teams were going to get to compete for the national championship. This year, with the college football playoff, there's four teams who can win it. But in 2006, it was the loser goes home. This year, not necessarily. Let's take a look at this. This year, right now, these are your top four teams in the college football playoff rankings. Georgia is number 1. Ohio State is number 2. Michigan is number 3. And TCU is number 4. So these are your 4 remaining undefeated teams. I don't think there are any more. So there's talk that even if Michigan or Ohio State loses this game on Saturday, as Steve Deace says, it's an invitational. The College Football Playoff Committee could still see our two teams as 2 of the top teams in the country and put them both in the playoff. So let's see. It's a different landscape than back in 2006. Okay, so let's take a look at the prediction. Alex, you still out there? Because I wanna bring you up. I don't want to carry this whole thing myself tonight. Let's take a look at the prediction. This piece here discusses how Ohio State right now is picked to win the game by 8 points. Abdul Gaines is picking Ohio State to win by 3 touchdowns. The experts, Abdul, you are an expert, but the experts are picking Ohio State to win by 8 points. So they're picking they're viewing this to be a very, very close game. There are injuries on both sides. Last week, a good number of our players on offense and defense didn't play. Looking at the Ohio State game against Maryland, Travion Henderson was in a boot. Well, Alex can tell us about all the injuries over there, but as you would expect late in the season, both rosters are banged up. I'm going to go over the statistics. Alex, give me a second. This will be the last thing I do before I bring you up. I'm going to go over the statistics. For some things, our two teams are neck and neck. And then for some statistics, our teams are separated in the statistics. So let me go over that. So Ohio State right now is picked to win by 8 points. In terms of the Big Ten statistics, all of this is online. You can go ahead and Google it yourself. I'm just going to go over the team statistics. Okay, so I'm going to start with scoring. As you might expect, Ohio State and Michigan are tied for scoring, right? In terms of scoring defense, Michigan is ranked at the top of the Big Ten for scoring defense. We've allowed the fewest points, okay? Illinois is number 2. Ohio State is number 5. Okay, so none of these teams are invulnerable, okay? That could be huge in Saturday's game, the fact that Ohio State is ranked number 5 in terms of scoring defense. Thomas Orsak says the Michigan passing game looks like Bo's 1970s passing game. Everything looks hard, forced, not smooth. JJ and the wide receivers have regressed badly. Where is Dylan Baldwin? Okay. Watching, this is the big stage. Watching Sam Webb and Vance Bedford last night. Vance is predicting a big game by JJ. This is the stage. Yeah, they've been out of sync. Our wide receivers haven't always gotten open. Andrew Anthony dropped a touchdown pass last week. But this is the stage. This is where stranger things have happened. So let's see. Shout out to Dre Ellerby. Dre Ellerby also pointed out in one of my shorts that JJ missed spring. So there's still some evolution that may be taking place. Okay. Abdul Gain says the Wolverines are a one touchdown a game team in terms of passing. That's not nearly good enough to beat a high-powered offense like the Bucks. Okay, let's continue going through the statistics, Abdul. Okay, let's take a look at totals. So for total offense, surprise, surprise, Ohio State is number 1. Michigan is number 2. Okay, so for total team defense, Michigan is number 1. Ohio State is number 5. Could that have an impact on Saturday's game that Ohio State is number 5 in total team defense? Steve Brown says, Thomas Baldwin put his name in the draft last season. It's Dalen Baldwin. All right, Abdul. Okay. All right, Thomas. You're corrected there. So it's Dalen Baldwin. All right. Thank you, Stephen. Okay. In terms of team rushing, surprise, surprise, Michigan leads the Big Ten in rushing. Okay. Our workhorse, our bell cow has been Blake Corum. Again, he was seen out delivering turkeys. He hurt his knee early, late in the second half against Illinois. He was able to walk off the field on his own power. He came back out, played a series, and I think our coaching staff just decided to rest him because they know that we need him for Saturday. But Michigan leads the Big Ten in rushing. Ohio State is number 3. Okay, not a big difference. In terms of rushing defense, Michigan is number 1. Ohio State is number 5. In terms of the passing games, surprise, surprise, Ohio State is number 1 in the Big Ten. Michigan is number 10. Okay, that could be huge because up to this point, Michigan hasn't really proved that they can throw the ball down the field deep with consistency. So that might come back to bite us on Saturday, especially if we're down. Again, there's been a lot of talk of JJ missing guys. JJ missed Colston Loveland a couple of times on Saturday. JJ missed Ronnie Bell in the flat on Saturday. But then there's also been talk about our wide receivers not getting the separation. There have been passes that have been dropped. In some instances, JJ has overthrown our receivers deep. So that's something that could come back and hurt us on Saturday. And as Vance Bedford pointed out last night, we don't have a big boy wide receiver. He can just throw a jump ball too. So that could come back and hurt us on Saturday. Let's see. Defensively, Michigan leads the Big Ten in passing defense. Okay. Returns, Indiana leads in returns. Ohio State and Michigan are 9 and 10. Let's see. Yeah, Nebraska leads in punt returns. Michigan is number 5. Ohio State's number 6. Kicking, Michigan is, this is looking like yardage. Michigan and Ohio State are 2 and 3. In terms of field goals, Michigan and Ohio State are number 2 and number 3. In terms of defense, sacks against, Ohio State has allowed the fewest number of sacks on C.J. Stroud. Michigan is number 3. Michigan has allowed 12 sacks. And Michigan and Ohio State are tied in terms of the number of sacks this season with 31. So there's some statistics where our teams are really, really close. There's some statistics where our teams are far apart. So I think that 8-point prediction is probably accurate, and this can go either way. If Blake Corum plays, I think Michigan will be right in there. There are probably things that for the offense they haven't shown yet, but a lot of it's going to depend upon how our young quarterback plays down in the chute. Is the stage going to be too big for him? Will he be unflappable and step up to the challenge? Alex, I'm going to drop the link. You're welcome to come up and tell us what you think at this point. Mike, I'm sure you want to come up too, but I'm going to let Alex hold the mic first. Alex, there's the link. I'm going to read some of these comments. Let's see. Thomas says, Michigan needs the unexpected to win. Ohio State has too many weapons. Michigan is not going to improve in week 1 in 1 week. Come on, guys. The Michigan defense is very good. Have they faced an offense like Ohio State? No. That's a good point. We had some cupcakes to start the season off. And yeah, last week was our first true street fight, but that was also because we had a lot of injuries at key positions as well. Guys, the super chat is live. If you want to super chat something, you're welcome to do so. My Cash App and PayPal are here. You're under no pressure to donate anything. But as a content creator, this is a part of it as well. I'm going to get to the rest of your comments. Oh, Alex is backstage, so it's about to get live. He's smiling. Okay. I'm waiting for and Steve Deace was pretty critical. Yeah, Steve Deace was pretty critical about our passing game. He was pretty critical about JJ. So a lot of this is going to, assuming Blake Corum is healthy and he plays and he's able to carry the ball and move the pile the way that he has, a lot of this is going to hinge on how JJ plays on this stage. Abdul Gaines says, I see Johnny Olden and Steve Deace all in their feelings when the Bucks get their revenge. Okay, Abdul is chomping at the bit. Steven says, no problem. I like your videos. I appreciate that. Sports content is tough, man. It's a tough crowd over here. Michigan will win because they are healthy at the most spots. That will be effective. Ohio State has a banged up offensive line, and the running backs are softer than a Brian McKnight album. Okay. Why was Corum not getting treatment on his knee? Why is the Michigan pass game going to suddenly improve in 1 week? Steve, Ohio State has one guard out. They have plenty of replacements. Michigan needs wide receiver help to stop Wilson. Henning and Anthony have disappeared. That's been one of the questions with Ronald Bellamy coaching the wide receivers. He was a good wide receiver. He wasn't the number one wide receiver when he was at Michigan. He got drafted. It's surprising that they have not blossomed more. So a lot of people are talking about that. Abdul Gain says, I don't think there's too many surprises the Wolverines can unleash when they are a 1 TD pass a game team. Steven says, Thomas, the O-line isn't that good. The right tackle is more clumsy than Cole from Martin. I think the Ohio State fans think their defensive line will dominate. They aren't going to. Tight ends will torch Ohio State. Hopefully we have Schoonmaker back. Let's see. What makes everyone think all these secret plays will work? JJ has played enough. He played a lot last year. Max Duggan at TCU is a first year quarterback. Look at him. And then finally, Thomas says, the OSU D is not great, but good enough to slow down the Michigan running game. The OSU defense is better than average. Last comment before I bring Alex up. They had to pass the ball last week when Blake went out. So JJ can play the position. I mean, he's Alex has called him Ohio State's sloppy seconds. But he can play the position, and I agree that they have not. One mistake the Michigan coaching staff has made this season is they have not. They did not call as many pass plays as they could have. So I think that's something that may hurt us on Saturday. But with that, everyone, I'm going to bring up my Buckeye Road Dog, and he's going to tell us what he thinks about Saturday's game and some of your comments. Okay, Alex, welcome.
Thank you. What say you? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Sorry, I was laughing about the Brian McKnight comment. That's
yeah, Steven is going ham, man.
Yeah, that's original. That's original. So yeah, I was looking at some of the stats, looking over a bunch of things, doing some research. I've been under the weather. I've had the flu, so I've been in bed watching film, and I think to really frame the discussion, we probably need to talk about the college football playoff first, because I think framing it in that light will probably set the stage for probably what I think is going to end up happening.
Okay.
On Saturday. So I think as of right now, you have top 4: Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, right?
Uh-huh.
Scroll down a little bit. You have LSU, USC, Alabama, Clemson, Oregon. Okay. So everybody and their mama knows LSU should not be at number 5, right? I think the idea, to frame this correctly, I think the idea is to make sure that even if Georgia loses, which I don't believe they will, but even if Georgia loses, they would have gotten beat. They'd be 12-1. And they're trying to make the case to get 2 SEC teams in, which I don't think that's going to happen. Spoiler alert: Texas A&M is going to beat LSU this weekend, because that's what Texas A&M does. They win the games they shouldn't, lose the games, or they win the games they shouldn't win, and I don't even understand that team. They're terribly coached. But and then you have Alabama, who we all know is pretty much out of it at this point, right? You have Clemson, USC, and Oregon. I think if TCU wins out, they're in, regardless of whatever happens. But I do think this one point is interesting, is that if USC and Oregon play and Oregon wins and they're the Pac-12 champ, we won't get a Pac-12 champ in the playoff. So, an 11-2 or 11-2 Pac-12 champ will make the playoff. So to kind of fast forward that, I think either way, LSU is out. They would have to, when you start breaking down the rankings, they're flawed. They're extremely flawed. Where's Penn State in the rankings?
Number 11.
Okay. Penn State has 2 losses. Their 2 losses are against a 2 and 3 team. You can't explain why they're ranked number 11. I don't know if you could explain that. I don't know if the committee could explain that. So I think the stage is set for both teams to get in. I think that's what's going to happen. I do think Oregon, I think USC does not come out a game between Oregon and Notre Dame without a loss. They're losing one of those 2 games. So the Pac-12 is out. I don't think LSU is going to go the next 2 weeks without a loss. So they're out. Then you have Clemson sitting at 8. North Carolina just lost. They would have to play North Carolina. Here's the problem, is that let's hypothetically say Ohio State loses. Okay, let's say they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State's best win is Clemson's worst loss. So you have to put them back in. So Clemson's out. And I just don't think Alabama has enough points to try to scoot them to kind of back their way in. They're going to have to move up 3 spots. I don't see how that's possible. So now that we've kind of gotten all that out the way, let's look at the top 4 again. I don't think there's going to be any movement on this top 4. There might be movement in 2 and 3, or maybe 2, 3, and 4. But I think this is what we have going forward.
Wow.
Okay. So last year, tough loss, right? Tough loss. And we deserved to lose. Everybody, we've gone over this over and over and over again. There was something that I thought was really interesting that was brought up by maybe Joe Klatt, where he was explaining how, and I know I'm going to, I know what I'm going to say is definitely going to rub some feathers the wrong way.
Go for it.
One particular person. So the COVID year when we didn't play, I think it was important. Joe Klatt, I believe it's Joe Klatt, brought up something very interesting, which I just looking at everything, I'm looking at scheme. I'm looking at how they attack defenses. I'm looking at how they call plays. What do they call them? First down, second down, third down, all those things. So these are the things that I'm looking at. But then there's something else that I missed. So I believe it was Joe Klatt. He said that the game, I think it was the 2020 game that wasn't played. Every year, it gives the younger players an opportunity to see what that game is like. And if you remember, last year we had the youngest team in the Power 5. Okay. So Justin Fields didn't have the opportunity to play the team up north again and show C.J. Stroud, okay, and Miller, who was at Ohio State at the time, from Arizona, show them, okay, this is what you have to do to prepare to beat this team, right? This is exactly what you need to do. C.J. Stroud never got that. A lot of players, they never got that, which I think definitely played to Michigan's advantage. Them being a young team, them not understanding exactly what the game is, along with everything else. I think it was just, I've said it before, I think it was a perfect storm for Michigan to win last year. So I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm saying all that and still saying they were the best that particular day. They were the better team. I think if you play the game 20 times, Ohio State probably wins 12-15. but they were the better team that day, and that's all that matters. So looking at this year, I think some of the comments that were made after the win, I think that win propelled Michigan into this season, because I think that they didn't believe that they could win until last year. I don't think they believed that. So they've taken that win and have really turned it into a very special season. Even with all the struggles, it's been a very special season for the team up north. So I can openly admit that. Now, would I have made the changes that they've made? Absolutely not. But people get paid millions of dollars to do that, and I don't. So,
are you talking about the quarterback position?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't believe, from what I've seen, that JJ has. I don't think he's developed enough.
Okay.
And I think there's a comment in there where, like, you can't change the passing game in a week. You can, right, with somebody who has experience. Like, for instance, I'm sure everybody saw I don't even know what you call it, the B slap that South Carolina gave Tennessee. Spencer Rattler we saw what he could do at Oklahoma. He just got beat up by a better player. But Spencer Rattler can sling the ball. He's a very, very, very good quarterback in college. So at the Division I level. I don't think you can see a switch flip like that from a quarterback. But you can see a switch flip like that from a skill position player. So I still don't think that Michigan has the players to do what they need to do this year. And I think Blake Corum's injury is probably really important piece of this puzzle, kind of as we kind of figure out, we project what we think is going to happen. They're going to test that knee. They're going to hit that knee and see. They're going to go probably as low as possible, and they're going to test it out. So with all that being said, I think Michigan's identity for this year has been established very early in the season. Even with the lack of development at certain positions, they are who they are, right? They're going to show up. They're going to try to run the football down your throat. They're going to play containment defense. They're not going to let you get anything over the top. They're going to make you be very methodical and make you make a mistake in order to beat them. Ohio State's not that right now. I don't think Ohio State has a true identity on what they want to do. I think defensively they do. I think offensively, I don't think they're there yet. And a lot of that is due to the injuries. And this has been a huge topic of conversation over the past couple of weeks. They installed turf, the same turf that the NFL installed last year, and Ohio State's had a.
Okay.
I think that
we just lost you. I don't know if that was me or you.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So I think
the turf.
Yeah, the turf. I think the turf is an important piece, which is why running backs. We've never had this many banged up injuries in 1 year. I'm pretty sure they're gonna change it out next year. I'm pretty certain of that. So I think Michigan knows who they are on offense. I think they're going to show up and do what they do. Will they have some wrinkles in there? Absolutely. I'm sure they've been prepping for this since last year, just like we have, since last year. So I think it's going to be a very close game. I know you went over the Big Ten stats. I'm looking at just the stats in general from this season. Points per game, it's at 39.4. Ohio State's at 46.5. Points allowed per game, Michigan has 11.7, Ohio State's 16.9. Total yards, pretty much even. Michigan has 452.6, Ohio State's 492.7. Passing and rushing, Michigan's at 209 basically, and then 244. Ohio State's at passing 289, and then 204. So, they're pretty evenly matched. I think Ohio State played the better non-conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that goes a lot into the overall stats. Because I don't think Michigan played anybody but me, you, and probably some person in the chat.
That's a good point.
Ohio State played Toledo and Notre Dame, who, Notre Dame lost their footing, but then once they got their footing, they've been on a tear. They've been on a tear over the last several weeks. And I don't know if they're going to get out of that. I don't know if USC is going to get out of that game this weekend. I think there's, in my opinion, I would be surprised if USC goes 2-0 in the next 2 weeks. If they go 2-0, Caleb Williams is probably going to win the Heisman because he's going to have to put on Heisman performances to beat those teams. Looking at this weekend, I'm not really sure. I think Ohio State's the more talented team.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they have been waiting. I think they've been waiting all year for this game. Probably thrown off their concentration at some points during the season. But I think Michigan knows who they are, and they have an identity, and that's something that is very difficult to do. And I think Jim Harbaugh has done a very good job of that. So I know the spread is 7.5, call it 8.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's because of the points. Michigan's at 34, Ohio State's at 47 points. That's the spread, essentially. So I'm thinking probably a 2 or 3 point game, and it could go either way. I'm honestly, I think our running back health is a problem.
Well, your freshman stepped in and played a good game last week.
Yeah, Dallin Hayden, he's good. He's really good. I think from a health perspective, that would be the reason why. I think health-wise, that's going to be the telltale of, I believe, who wins this game. So, I mean, at this particular point in time, I think, when you play 9 conference games, and I was saying this early in the week, I think 9 conference games when you're going to a 12-team playoff is just ridiculous at that point, which is what we're going to end up at. I think for teams like in other conferences that don't do that, I think it's smart. It's almost like giving your team an extra bye week, especially when you're trying to win a national championship. So I hope that's something that they do visit in the future. But in regards to the game, I've gone back and forth on it. I think somebody said in the chat, I don't think Michigan's defense can stop an offense like Ohio State.
Well,
the thing is, Ohio State typically stops itself, right?
I
think from a play calling perspective, Ryan Day, Kevin Wilson, and now Brian Hartline, I think they're kind of all over the place. I think they fall in love with the pass too much. I think that there have been some interesting play calling. I don't think their scheme fits from a running perspective. I don't feel like what they're trying to do in the running game fits what the running backs do the best. which is make a decision and kind of go, which is why Dallin Hayden is doing so well. He makes a decision, he's one cut, and he's right up the hole. So even if it's the wrong one, he's typically making the right read. But I think that, Travion Henderson, who's been hurt pretty much all year, Evan Pryor, who we lost, before the season even started due to an ACL, and then Maya Williams, who's banged up, who we don't know is we're assuming that he's going to suit up, but we don't know. I think injuries are going to play a part in who wins this game. So I think it could go either way, 2-3 points.
Well, Alex, first of all, I'm concerned about our defensive backs trying to cover Marvin Harrison and your other skill position players. I think, as you said, again, a lot's going to depend upon whether or not Blake Corum plays, because if you look at this passing game differential here, you guys are ranked number 1. We're ranked number 10. You guys have almost passed for almost 1,000 more yards than we have, and you're averaging about 100 more yards per game, almost 100 more yards per game than we are. So
yes, but with all that, and this is where I get to the play calling issue.
Okay.
All that being said, what's the differential in the points?
Hold on.
So from a season perspective, it's only 7 points.
Yeah, we're 1-2. Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at. So I feel like, and this has been an argument, at least on the Ohio State side all season, is that we haven't seen the best version. We believe that we haven't seen the best version of this team, right? It's hard for me to believe when I haven't seen it yet to say I'm going to see it on Saturday. Like I'm not one of those people who just think magically this ridiculous offense is just going to click on all cylinders when it hasn't clicked on all cylinders all season. We've seen it in spurts. We have not seen it for a complete game.
Mm-hmm. Steve thinks you're playing possum a little bit, Alex.
I'm not. I am so not. I'm not. I promise. I'm not playing possum. It's just based upon what I've seen. I look. We could move this analogy in any part of life, right? If you have an engineer who, or an architect who goes and designs houses, and the houses are, when you look at the plans for them, they look pretty immaculate. But then when they start working on the foundation of the house, there's something that's always wrong, right? Something always seems to just be a little bit off, right? That's kind of how I look at Ohio State, where, we know what they have. Their weapons are insane. Between, I know we just lost a running back commit, but there isn't a position group that I feel like is more stacked than Ohio State right now. I think we're stacked at every position. Even with losing Mark Fletcher, we have a running back that didn't even play this year, right? And we've been banged up. We trotted out TC Caffey, who's been banged up. We have Chip Trainum, who's a transfer from Arizona State, who's been banged up. So, I know there's a lot of injuries, and teams are typically injured at this point in the season. But that's kind of how I come to that conclusion, is that no matter what happens, Michigan just does what they do. And with Ohio State, I don't necessarily see that. I don't see the high rate of execution as I do on the Michigan side. So Michigan is very good at running the football. That's what they do. That's their identity. Ohio State doesn't execute in their passing game as well as Michigan executes in their running game. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Really?
Yes. Listen, even with everything that's happened, they leave plays on the field every single game. And when they have the opportunity to put teams away, they don't. I think that to me, that is the biggest telltale of this whole season, is that we have been waiting for Ohio State to just put a team down, and they haven't done it yet. Now the defense, much improved. Like they've done enough on the it's been a long time since I've seen an Ohio State defense that has went out and won us 2 games. They've won us 2 games this year. The defense has. So with all of the weapons and everything that we have, the defense has gone out and won us 2 games. Okay. So that's kind of like, that's kind of where my head is. I think it's going to be a 3-point game. And I honestly cannot pick. I can't pick who's going to win. Last night I thought it was Michigan. This afternoon I thought it was going to be Ohio State. Yesterday I thought it was going to be Michigan. The day before I thought it was going to be Ohio State when I was in the bed with 102-degree fever. So, I think in order for the route that people believe is coming from Michigan, Ryan Day has to call and execute the best game plan outside of the Clemson game in 2019. Because that was a route. So I know he's capable, but Justin Fields is not CJ Stroud. And CJ Stroud is not Justin Fields. I think they're unique, but I think Justin Fields was at the time a far better player than CJ Stroud is. As a playmaker, not as a quarterback, as a playmaker.
So you're talking about as a runner and a passer.
As a runner and a passer, yes, he's a better player. I think CJ is the better quarterback. Justin Fields was he was a very, very good quarterback, but he was a better playmaker. So it can be done, right? But that year I also saw Ohio State put a lot of teams away very early. Very early. Like they jumped on Indiana and got them out of there. They jumped on a bunch of teams and got them out of there. So I don't see that from this team. I don't see it. Not to say they're not capable. I just don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm going to agree with Alex. I don't know which way this is going to go. I think a lot's going to depend upon the health of our ground game, Blake and Donovan Edwards, and certainly
didn't play last week, right? He didn't play last week.
He didn't play. So, and what's interesting is he seems to be the receiver, even though he's a running back, that JJ connects the best with. Well, him and Schoolmate, right. That's so JJ will be more comfortable with Donovan Edwards in the game. So yeah, I would tend to agree with Alex, everyone.
Yeah, and I guess I look at Michigan puts up 39 points a game, and JJ doesn't need to be great, right? That's weird. That's kind of where I land. I think the game is going to be very similar to the Iowa game. That's what I think for both teams. I think it's going to be very similar to the Iowa game, where I think Michigan's going to come out and try to take away the pass, which was interesting because Iowa came out when they played Ohio State and tried to take away the run, because that's what Ohio State wanted to do. They wanted to run the football. And there wasn't an adjustment quick enough on Ohio State side, which is why that game was so close. And I kind of feel the exact same way about the Michigan-Iowa game, which they gave. I think those were the most passing yards Iowa's had all season too, which was odd. But that was a very, very close game. But Michigan dominated with the run. They weren't 20-yard runs. They were 5, 7, 5, 6, 5, 8, 5, 4, 5, 7. Like, they weren't huge. They just methodically just beat you up all up and down the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they can do that to this particular defense. I think in order for Michigan to win, they're going to have some wrinkles in it, which I'm sure. I mean, there's going to be some wrinkles in there. Probably some play action pass, which they don't do very well, and they don't do a lot. So, okay. Defense, man. The defense won that game. The defense won that game. Listen, I don't know what to think at this particular moment. Like, I'm really like, I don't know what to think.
Okay. Okay. Alex, was that all for your synopsis and prediction?
That's all I got. I'll throw it out there. Let's say Michigan wins. I mean, yeah, see, that I was going to say Michigan wins by 3.
Abdul's going to unfriend you.
That's fine.
Michael, do you want to come up? If you do,
I'm kind of. And here's the thing. So, like, initially, I thought this was going to go very differently about 2 weeks ago, and then what I've seen the last 2 weeks has had me land where I'm at now.
I mean, was it the Maryland game?
Yes, but here's the thing about Maryland. So Maryland is a very high-powered offense, right? They haven't been the same since that Michigan game when Talia Tagovailoa got hurt. I believe if he doesn't get hurt, Maryland wins that game. I also believe that he played his best game against Ohio State, right? And Michigan doesn't have the playmakers on the outside that Maryland does.
Okay.
Maryland's wide receiver, their wide receiver group is very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, that throw Talia made. Michael, the link is there if you want to come up and say a few words yourself. That throw Talia made running out of bounds, that was sick. I thought he was right there on the sideline, and he somehow found that guy in the end zone.
Yeah, he's listen. He played his best game against Ohio State. He's a very, very talented quarterback. So I think when I feel like we're splitting hairs at this point, which is kind of where I land. Is because I'm trying to find a logical reason, not an emotional one. I'm trying to find a logical reason to say Ohio State is undoubtedly going to win this game, and I don't have one.
Okay.
I also don't have an undoubtedly reason why Michigan's going to win this game. I don't have one. The only one I have is when you look at what they do best, Michigan does. They run the football better than Ohio State passes the football.
Okay. Alice, we've got Michael and we've got Steven. Okay, guys. Panel etiquette. So
please.
No talking over each other. I'll give it to Michael first, and then Steven, you're next. So remember, guys, panel etiquette. All right. I think this is the first time I might have had 4 guys up here.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Hey, fellas, what's up?
Michael, how you doing, bro?
I'm all right. Man, you trying to get us to fall for that banana in the tailpipe, ain't you?
Dude, I'm not. Come on now. You know, I cut it. I cut it straight down the middle. I see it how I see it.
You do. But I hope you get weather, brother, because I don't want you to have no EBGBs, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, I wish I could be more diplomatic, My mom's born in Dayton, Ohio, so
okay,
that's much love I'm gonna get. I mean, as far as the rest of y'all bums, I don't rock. No. He said panel etiquette, so I'm gonna respect the platform because I respect this brother. But
well, you know what? I thought you were Stephen Cherry. He's a Buckeye.
I mean, no, ain't no Buckeyes here, man. You see the hat, you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be all about the Wolverine.
Yeah, basically.
Well, what do you guys think about? What are you guys predicting? The Vegas is predicting 8. Alex is saying it's too close to call. Some guys in the chat are saying Ohio State by 3 touchdowns. What do you guys think, Michael, Steven?
Go on, Steven. Tell them what's up.
27-17 Michigan. Here's why. 2 reasons. One, Old State, they've had a cute season. It's been nice. It's really been nice. But defensively, we all know that their secondary is garbage. Those guys can't cover a candy ball with a paper sack. Like, they're going to make JJ look better than he actually is. I'm not saying JJ is horrible, but if you get those guys with crossing routes, and Michigan's best receiver is Roman Wilson, actually. He's faster than Burke. Burke is he's been getting burnt all year. Let's just be real. And 2, Old State's running game, like Dallin Hayden is not, like Mike Morris will be back, Mason Graham. And y'all got to realize something. Michigan has some guys that you don't know about. You probably don't know about. Will Johnson and Mike Samersteele. These 2 guys are going to play a key factor Saturday, because we know Marvin's going to get the ball. I mean, and when in doubt, throw to Marvin. Egbuka and Fleming, they get nothing at all. So if you play a safety over the top against Marvin, which some teams have done, Stroud is ineffective. Rutgers did it. He didn't do anything. Indiana did it. Northwestern ran all over that D line. I mean, it's almost like you're Marvin Harrison, bad game away from getting blown out. Like, Stroud is not going to run. Mason Graham is going to kill him on the D line, and I just don't see them being able to be effective like they think they are. Supposed to rain, which doesn't help Stroud, doesn't help that offense. I can't see it, and this is not even me being a Michigan fan. Looking at that now, if Michigan had Talia Tagovailoa, they win the championship because he's that good.
Yeah,
but
I agree with
when you look at how Old State plays defense in their secondary, those guys are just not good. They are. I don't know why they're bad. They're just not any good. So when Roman gets separation, Andrell, and I'm telling you, watch Darius Clemens too. He's gonna play. Guys 6'3", they have nobody that can cover. I don't think Old State has a DB over 6'1". They got Ransom, which is good in space. But if they're not getting to the quarterback, they're ineffective. They just are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's most defenses, though. If they're not getting to the quarterback, they're ineffective. That's
well, you're correct. You're correct. But Michigan has the best offensive line in college football. So you can't expect to get the JJ like that. You shouldn't. I mean, they got 2 of them in line. They did it at Penn State or whatever. But, I mean, Sawyer and all those guys, they're not going to – and JJ can run too. Stroud is not going to run. He's going to stand there and he's going to try to make a play. And Ryan Day against Jim Harbaugh, I trust Jim Harbaugh because Ryan Day is Ted Cruz with a headset. He's so scared to mess up. Like, when they lose this game, y'all going to want him out of there because he's a good offensive coordinator. He is not a good coach. He's not a championship winning coach. He's Cooper 2.0. That's all he is.
Here's where I'm going to push back a little bit on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's Alex I want to see. Come on, brother.
That Clemson game goes against everything you just said.
2019, when Clemson had 2 guys, 2 weapons, just Etienne and Lawrence. That's it. Nobody else.
Didn't have T. Higgins.
No, I think T. Higgins was either hurt or something like it was. I don't think he was 100% that game. But I'll give you T. Higgins. But mostly the people in that game, it was just 2 guys.
Yeah, Jeff could have shut him down. But the difference is that the defense showed up, and Justin Fields probably played the best game he's ever played. And
that's Justin Fields, though.
They schemed the crap out of Clemson that game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the focus, I get what you're saying, but there's evidence that that's not true. That's why I'm going there. There's evidence that if locked in, because I believe that Clemson game in 2018, I feel like that was the year Ohio State probably could have won a national championship. And if Sean Wade doesn't get kicked out of the game for that ridiculous call that they had, probably would have won that game. That game was ridiculous. But locked in, which I feel like Ryan Day is, he's locked in to this team. I can see where that's not the case because I see what happens when he is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Day can be locked in all he wants to. Like Dave knows, y'all ain't got the horse, especially on the offensive line and the defensive line. This game is going to be won in the trenches, boys.
It always is. It's always one in the trenches.
And that's why Michigan's going to win. I got 38-13 myself.
So you think – wait. You think – You think they're only going to allow Ohio State to score? You think they're going to hold them to a season low? That's what you're that's.
Yes, sir. Because the most
Okay.
points ever scored on Michigan this year was 24, and I
Okay.
know we could cut that in half.
Well, I'm concerned about our
That's bold.
defensive backfield. If they can get pressure on CJ,
I think the game's going to be close. That's bold. That's about as bold as it gets. That they're going to hold him to a touchdown and 2 field goals.
Yep.
That's bold.
Yep. Because, like you said, C.J. Stroud will be running for his life all day because he ain't going to have no help from the offensive line. And our defensive line is going to make sure we get the ball back and keep beating on your defense. That's what's going to happen.
So, okay. So I look at it a little differently. This is interesting. So your thought is that the least sacked quarterback in the Big Ten is going to get sacked the most when both of our teams have the same number of sacks.
No, I didn't say he was going to get sacked. I said he was going to be running for his life because we all know CJ got the quick release, and that's why he's the least sacked quarterback in the league.
No, that's not true because his pass he leads. I think he leads the Big Ten in passing yards per play. So that's not true.
But if all he has to do is if he catches somebody open downfield, he gonna throw that. He can do that all day long. We've seen that, especially with Marvin Harrison getting loose against Indiana. Because I'm like my boy Steve. You got to keep them guys in front of you. You let them guys get behind you, it's over.
Yeah,
and we ain't gonna let that happen.
Yeah, I think they're gonna play cover 2. I think they're gonna roll coverage over to Marvin. They're gonna make Ibuka, Fleming, Stover, Royer. Like if he plays, they're gonna make those guys. They're gonna make.
What did he say?
Did he freeze again?
Yeah, he froze. He froze.
Or they're capable of doing so.
You got to start from the beginning, bro. You froze.
No, I'm saying I think they're gonna go. I think they're gonna play cover 2. They're gonna roll coverage over wherever Marvin's at.
Yep.
And make the other guys beat you. So I think that's what's going to end up happening. And listen, they're capable. They haven't done it in probably 5 weeks, but they're capable of doing it. But I haven't seen it in 5 weeks. So if I haven't seen it in 5 weeks, I'm not going to expect to see it on Saturday.
Let me ask you this: How does Old State effectively shut down, say Donovan Edwards? Because I believe Mike Morris is going to play. I mean, I think Coach Harbaugh say Schoonmaker, all those guys, they'll be back. Mm-hmm. How does Old State plan against Donovan Edwards when he can be used as weapon X? You know who Donovan Edwards is, right?
Yeah, I know who Donovan Edwards is. Yep.
All right, like he can line up in the backfield, line up as a receiver. He can even throw the ball. Mm-hmm. Like who do they put on? Because I don't think Zach Harrison or Sawyer Eichenberg, whomever, has the wheels to run with this guy. So if he's at 90%, somebody for Old State is screwed. There's going to be a mismatch. Somebody, like I said, JJ is not the most productive quarterback. I will give you that. But Edwards is the X factor. Who on Old State can neutralize?
I don't think. Here's the thing. It's not about neutralizing. The idea behind Ohio State's defense is to give up, because when you're playing a top caliber team in Division I, the idea is to only give up a certain amount of explosive plays. And when you give those up, are you giving up touchdowns or are you giving up field goals? Now, Ohio State, they give up about 5 explosive plays a game, but then the team ends up kicking field goals. They're not getting touchdowns. Mm. So one player, the way Jim Knowles' defense, the way his scheme is, one player is not going to outrun an entire team. The field's not big enough for that to happen. It doesn't matter how fast. It doesn't matter if you got Devin Hester or Ted Ginn out there or Percy Harvin. One player, and this is majority defensive, one player can't outrun an entire team.
And I don't think you've seen Alabama lately, but it's all good. Go ahead.
I'm saying in the Jim Knowles scheme, one player can't outrun an entire team.
Okay, you don't think so? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Well,
not consistently. So I think in order for something like that to happen, one, how are you going to get him the ball? Right?
Donovan? Oh, okay.
How are you going to get him the ball? Because if you're giving him the ball, then you're taking the ball away from somebody else, right? So I think there has to be consistency, and the ball has to be spread around. Because if you just force feed somebody, then you can key in on that particular person. The defense will adjust.
It won't be a force feed, Alex. It's going to be a steady diet, like you were saying, at that 5-yard, 6-yard run. And then when y'all load the box and think we're going to run it, guess who's going to play action pass? And that's how we get you.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing. It's just I haven't seen it. So I'm not going to go off of something I haven't seen. I'm just going to go off of what I'm going off of the evidence that I have, not necessarily what they could do. I'm going off of what they've done.
Just like y'all save stuff for us, don't think we ain't saved nothing for you.
Okay? No, I've said that already. I'm sure on both sides, from last year, you're working on stuff just this every week, just like we are. But I only go off of what I've seen. That's kind of how I make an analysis, not based upon what I think is going to happen, is based upon what I've seen, not what I haven't seen.
And that's fair. That's fair, because I get it. The preponderance of the evidence, I get it. But you got to look at how Harbaugh's running that team. Man, I think he intentionally made boys sit down that could have played. So with us running it like an NFL team, man, we knew that he knew that to a certain degree he could win ugly against Illinois. Yeah. And he's saving it all for you.
I don't know. Without O State's running game, man, like I said, Dallin Hayden had a good game against Maryland, but Michigan ain't Maryland. He had a really good game. Trevion Henderson, this dude, like, if you grab his hip, he going down faster than a stripper in the red light district, man. He's that this dude is weak, dog. Like, he's weak. Maya Williams gonna get you. Like, Trevion Henderson is so bad. If it's a 3rd and 2, it's gonna be a 4th and 2. It's literally like he's that bad. Like, how do they run the ball against Michigan? Like, how?
I'm not a big Trevion Henderson fan. I don't think he sees the whole. I think he's probably the most talented running back in the country, but I don't think he has very good vision.
Alex, what get hurt in first?
The Notre Dame game, I think.
Wow, yeah. First game of the season. Okay.
Listen, listen, we can have the discussion. It's the turf. Everybody's getting hurt on this turf, from college to the NFL. Everybody's getting hurt.
I heard them mention that in the press conference from Day about that turf.
Yeah,
I guess the OSU officials was kind of blasé about that turf, but I think, like you, man, I think that turf's going out right after spring ball.
Listen, the NFL player, they don't want to play on it. That's how bad it is, and it is what it is, right?
But the only thing is, your field's like our field. Y'all underground, so y'all can't grow grass in there.
I know. I don't know what they're gonna do. Honestly, I don't know what they're gonna do, but. I think 4 of our running backs have gotten injured this year from that field.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So listen, if it was on the other side, I'd say the exact same thing. Like, if it was up there in the big house, you got to take that out. You got to take it out.
Well, I think we have a different type of field turf. I think our field turf's got the prescription is the longer. And then the longer grades, and then they add those tire deals too.
Okay. Yeah. My thinking, you got to take that out. So, but like I said, for me, it's too close to call. I know you're leaning one way. I'm not leaning any way. I'm just kind of like, I think you saying they're going to hold them to 13 is interesting, but I'm probably more of the 30-27.
Okay.
In that area.
Well, like my shirt says, we battling for the dub. If we get the dub, I'll be happy with the dub, because we ain't beat y'all in 22 years in that damn stadium.
I know. And it's hard for me to believe. Here's the thing. I don't want to believe that it's possible, but my eyes tell me it's possible.
Okay.
So
long as you ain't trying to get us to fall for that banana to tough fight, brother.
Come on, man. You know, I keep it a buck. I will always keep it a buck.
There you go with that word. There you go. Hey, Raheem Gaines, I see your comments. I ain't studying you. But my last thing, I got to get to my night job, man. But, I mean, coaching staff, like position for position, Old State has maybe one advantage. Well, I don't see any advantages. Michigan has a better D-line, better running back coach. I mean, better secondary coach.
I'm not going to say they have a better running back coach. Tony Alford has how many players in the NFL from Ohio State?
We talking about now. We ain't talking about the NFL. We talking about like Mike Hart and like the way the running backs look now. Like Mike Hart is like let's not even go there, man. Let's not even go there. Right now, Mike Hart is a better running backs coach than Tony Alford. Like I'm just being real. Like look at them three, dude. Like we just don't do it, man. I'm just sorry.
Listen, that
they have an advantage at wide receiver coach, though.
I'm not disagreeing with you. We can to me the only way you judge that there's two ways to look at it. You can look at how many running backs the coaches put in the NFL, which is what I'm going to look at. Mm-hmm. You can also look at the identity of the team versus scheme and what they're trying to do, right? So Michigan has an identity. They're going to run the football no matter what. So they're going to have the better offensive line because they're going to run the football. Mm. They're going to put people in place to do exactly what Jim Harbaugh wants them to do. They do that, to me, better than any team in the country. They know exactly who they are. Mm. There's no identity crisis up there. Mm. They know when they come in, listen, they could go 5 years without playing a football game. You put them same players on that field, they know exactly what they got to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have an identity. So I think that plays into the running back situation. I think it plays into that. Mm-hmm. But I also think the fact that Ohio State had an offensive line last year where the offensive coach said, no, we got 5 offensive tackles, which is the dumbest I've ever heard. That doesn't even make sense. And that's why he's gone.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's also a part of that story.
Well,
so
Alex,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying.
To put his 5 best offensive linemen on the field?
I'm sorry?
Did he try to put his best 5 offensive linemen on the field?
No.
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
He says here's the thing. He says he did.
Okay.
But there are players that are playing right now that are going to be drafted that didn't play.
Okay.
I hear you, man. I just I look at the running backs and you said that you put them in. What Ohio State running backs are doing good in the NFL, like right now? I can't think of any. You don't say Zeke because that ship is sailed.
J.K. Dobbins.
All right, man. I'm gonna go to work. I gotta get going. I appreciate you letting me up, big man.
Hey, Steven, thank you. Hopefully, we'll see you again.
Have a good night, brother. Go Blue.
He said J.K. Dobbins. Oh shoot.
Yeah, I think J.K. Dobbins was more of Urban Meyer's creation. That's probably why he laughed.
Well, also in his defense, J.K. Dobbins got hurt last year.
Yeah,
and he never really had been hurt. So, listen, their running backs go to the league. That's just what it is. They go to the league.
And so
what they do once they get there is a whole nother conversation. But the running backs get to the NFL.
Yeah.
So, just like the corners get to the NFL, the defensive linemen get to the NFL. The only ones who really haven't have been the linebackers. And we all know that's about to change because we have the best linebacker in the country.
Yeah, that number 44, he's pretty tough.
Yeah. So,
if y'all didn't have him on the field, y'all would have lost to Penn State.
Oh, that was the best defensive performance from a defensive lineman I've ever. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that from a defensive player. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. That was just like, I'm about to take this game over, and there's nothing you can do.
It was impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive. But you can make the argument that Michigan doesn't have anybody on the team that could do that.
We don't have to. We the no-name defense like the 72 Dolphins, baby.
I mean, you can say they're known their defense. I know everybody on the defense, so like,
Well,
I know how good they are.
well, the fact that you're on the Michigan channel, I know you keeping your eye on what the players is doing, so it's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, always. Interesting about the Will Johnson thing because and this bugs me.
You know he's gonna be special, don't you?
If his dad did
His
not,
pops.
he would have been at Ohio State.
Yeah,
That's the only reason he's there.
I know.
It's the only reason. That's it.
It just pays that you listen to your parents. That's all.
Man, whatever.
Yeah, and he just got on the field and made a play against was it Illinois or was it Nebraska?
No, he's a special kid.
He's been making plays when he's on the field. Period. That's why
he's gonna
Green better watch out. He might get his job taken away.
Listen, he's gonna listen. If he went to Lissicum College, he would be producing. Like if he's a different kid. He's got the pedigree. He's just a different dude. That one, different. So, yeah, you guys got one up on us with that one. So that one kind of still stings a little bit because I know it was like he was coming, and then like his dad was like, just make this one more trip, and then everything flipped after that. I'm just like, oh, okay.
But Alex, what happened to the next man up mentality? Y'all got a bunch of 4 or 5 stars over there. Y'all shouldn't be hurting on the offensive and defensive lines like y'all are.
We're not.
Well, one of your offensive linemen just went down last week.
Yeah, he's been hurt all season.
Okay,
he's been hurt. He's been hurt since the Notre Dame game. He's been battling something since that game.
Good Lord.
So, I mean, it is next man up. Trust me,
okay.
we got slide them right in. We got players, so I'm not worried about. I think we got a junior that slid in his spot. So, and we got. I mean I think the issue with him is he was our kind of like our utility where he can play everywhere, right? He can
okay. I think Alex froze again. Yeah, he froze again.
Okay. Well, we're at an hour 22 minutes. Mike, you want to give us your prediction again?
Well, like I said, it's going to be controlled by both lines of scrimmage. The offensive line going to do their thing. The defensive line going to do their thing. They're going to put C.J. Stroud, make him run for his life. We're going to get some whacks and some cracks, maybe a sack or 3. And I'm predicting 38-13 Michigan.
Okay, so we have a couple predictions where one team is winning by 3 touchdowns. That's interesting, Mike.
I think you predicting that you're gonna stop the number 1 or top 3 passing attack in the country. That's brash, man.
Well, what concerns me is our defensive backfield. Shout out to Johnny Olden. Some of those guys are gonna have to guard Marvin Harrison Jr. and we're gonna have to wrap up the guys and tackle them and not just sit there when the guy runs towards me. Got to get up there and get the guy. So that's what concerns me is our defensive backfield.
I think they'll come with bad intentions this week because
everybody's coming with
that scarlet uniforms on the field.
Everybody's coming with bad intentions this week. Everybody is on both sides.
Yep, you're right. Because I know it hurt, but it's really gonna sting when we beat you at the crib.
We'll see.
Yep, that's why they play the games, Alex.
That's
but
right.
Brother, I hope you feel better, man. Plenty of hot soup and some vitamin C, man.
Listen, I've been in the bed since Sunday night, so I'm when we hop off, I'm going right back to the bed. I'm going right back.
Well, just get well, brother. Just get well.
I will. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, on that note, Michael, do you have anything else?
No. Hope you coming down, man. But if you don't, I know you're gonna have that post game show, so I'm gonna try to get back on in time for your post game show.
Yo, man, I didn't get my tickets early, man. Them joints is going for. Oh, we just lost Alex. Them joints are going for $500, man. It's like the Super Bowl.
But shoot, it'll still be one heck of a party at the tailgate anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because
Okay.
everybody be down there. Game day's gonna be there. Big noon kickoff. I heard Josh Platt that does the late kick. He gonna be down there. I think everybody gonna be there.
Okay. All
But I
right.
know you got a hard stop, brother. I just appreciate you inviting me up. We're gonna say go blue. Let's get them Buckeyes. And the post game should be right on and popping.
All right. Let's see if your prediction holds true.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
All right. You too. All right, everyone. Well, there you have it. You have a couple of you all picking Ohio State to win by 3 touchdowns. Michael's picking Michigan to win by 3 touchdowns. Me and Alex think it's too close to call. The experts in Vegas are picking Ohio State to win by 8. So let's see. I think, yeah, it's all going to hinge on a lot of it's going to hinge on the injuries and who plays and who doesn't. If Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards are back there in the backfield behind JJ, I think those two guys are game changers, and then it could get pretty interesting. Schoonmaker comes back, that's going to be huge. Mike Morris, we should get Mike Morris back. That's going to be huge. So if we have all our big guys up front on defense, yeah, we can put pressure on CJ Stroud and stuff the running game, and then our defensive backfield, they have to make plays because, again, shout out to Johnny Olden. At times they've arm tackled, and sometimes they sit there and they wait for the player to come to them instead of going and aggressively making the play. So it's going to be interesting. Both teams are 11-0. There are some stats where they're lined up right with each other, and then there's some stats where they're a little more far apart. So let's see what happens. So everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you to everyone who participated in the chat. I really appreciate the activity and the interaction. It's much better when there are people here fired up and voicing their opinions as opposed to me just talking to the screen. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. If you're new to the channel, and if you see fit, shout out to Bo Lytle. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to donate something to the channel, that information is below in the description box, and you can also leave a super thanks. Yeah, and the link to my newsletter, my book project are down there as well. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, this time tomorrow night, I'm going to have a belly full of food. And everyone take care of your health. Don't take life for granted, and always do your best. Sports are the great escape. Shout out to the Huge Show. Sports are the great escape, and life is hard. Life has its challenges, and it's good that we can escape for these couple of hours a week to watch our sports teams play and to get lost in Big Ten rankings and statistics and college football playoff rankings. This means a lot. Life, yeah, life happens. Life is hard. I wasn't supposed to be in Buffalo this weekend. It's a blessing that I am. But things, just like injuries, just like plays getting changed at the line of scrimmage, life, you never know. So appreciate every day, and don't take things for granted, and always try to do your best, even if you fall short. Michael Burden, thank you for the $5 super chat, and also thank you for coming up to voice your opinion. Hopefully your prediction holds true on Saturday. All right, everyone, I'm going to shut this down. You know what it is. Go Blue, beat the Bucks on Saturday. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time, which will probably be Saturday evening. All right, bye-bye.